Hey guys, it's Jen, and I just wanted to show you how I'm creating a little stencil for the layout that I'm going to create in this video. And I'm using the Ali Edwards June releases, and this one is a Summer Memories digital card that's meant for pocket page scrapbooking, but I'm going to turn it into a cut file. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is open the card, and it's called Bring on the Sun, and this is the Summer Memories little digital set. And what you need for tracing is high contrast. Now usually I have it so that whatever I want to trace is black. In this instance it's white, but it's still going to work, and I'm going to show you how we can do that. So I just have the image open, and what I'm going to do is go to the trace window, select trace area, and then I'm going to drag over the area where I want to trace. Now you can see these yellow lines. That's where it's going to put the cut lines, and what I want to do is have it so that there's more yellow blocked out. So I'm going to unclick high pass filter. You can see the whole entire background is blocked out. Now usually when I trace, it's the words that are all yellow, but this will work in the same way. So what I'm going to do is click on trace. I'll pull that to the side, and here is the cut file. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this original because I don't need it. And I'm going to, all I need is the words. I don't need the lines around it. So I'm going to just do control click. I have to do control click because I'm on my laptop, but you can just right click, release compound path, and then I'm going to delete these outer lines that I don't need. Also, since I'm using this as a stencil, you won't be able to see the inner pieces of the cut file, so I'm just going to delete them because I'm not going to use them anyway. So I'm just going to delete the inner pieces. I know that bugs some people, but it doesn't bug me. So, okay, so now I'm going to select it all again and group it together so that it's easy to move around. Now I'm going to print an oversized photo for this layout, and it's going to go on the back of another horizontal 8.5 by 11 layout that I created. So this will be a horizontal 8.5 by 11. I've already got my paper here sized to that, and you can change that in page settings, and then you can just choose current printer and then choose landscape, or you can choose portrait if you have a silhouette portrait. Okay, so what I want to do now to make sure that this is the right size for my photo is I'm going to bring the photo in here and then just size it based on the photo, because I don't want to, I'm going to do it directly on top of the photo. So you'll see what I mean in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and open my photo, and I have it saved to my desktop. Maybe. Here we go. Okay, so when you do this, it opens up super huge, and you just need to size it down. So I'm just going to hold down the shift key and use the little arrows to size my photo down. And the photo, I'm going to print it at about 7.5 by 7.5. Doesn't matter if it's exact, but it's going to go in the corner of the page like this, and I'm going to create some list style journaling on the right hand side. So it opened up in a different window. So what I'm going to do is just copy, actually I'm going to cut it and paste it into this document so that those two are together. And I'll bring this to the front, and all you have to do to bring this to the front, because right now it's hiding behind the photo, is click on this little button at the bottom. It says bring to front, or you can right click and do it. And now it's going to be on top of my photo. So now I can size it however big I want it. I don't want it to cover up the sun right here, and my daughter's in the bottom right hand corner, but I'm going to size it large enough that I can stencil some modeling paste through it. And so I think I want it to be about that large. And that way it will cover a lot of the photo, but not all of it. So I like that size. So I don't need my photo anymore in here, but I just wanted it for reference. So if you didn't know that you could bring photos into Silhouette Studio, you definitely can. You could also do a print and cut if you wanted to cut this directly out of the photo. That would look cool too. But that's not what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And now I have this ready to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out on my silhouette, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to create this layout. Okay, so I have my little template cut out, and I just used a piece of cardstock in a color I didn't think I would otherwise use. And so I ended up printing my photo at about 7 3/4 square, and I'm trying to decide now if I want to put it in this corner or in this corner. I had originally thought to put it in this corner because I wanted to make a list down the side with, this is the stamp set that came with the Week in a Life kit this year, and I was just going to use the little arrow as kind of like a little, not a little checkpoint, but as the start to a little bit of journaling. I've written down several things. This says bring on the sun, and so I thought I would write down all of the things that summer can bring on. And so I've written myself a list of that. All of the prompts, all of them start with bring on. So like bring on staying up late, bring on sprinklers under the trampoline, bring on evening walks, bring on going to the pool, that kind of thing. And so I thought that this would look nice going down the side here. But as I am looking at the photo, and my daughter's in this bottom corner and she's pointing this way and the sun is over here, which I also want to kind of highlight, I'm thinking that it might be better for this to go in this corner. And I can still do my little checklist over here on the side. It'll just be a little bit different. I also have this little, I have two pieces. I haven't decided which to use, but this is from the first story kit. And it says bring on the butterflies. And I'm using this in a literal sense. I think in that kit it was all about like firsts, and so like sometimes doing something for the first time can make you nervous, and I think that's what this means, but I'm going to use it in a literal sense because there are butterflies everywhere as well. And so I think I might use that at the start of my journaling, and then put all of the little arrows down the side. So first things first, I'm going to get this adhered down to my layout, and then I'm going to do my little stenciling. And so what I plan to do is just use a little bit of modeling paste, and I'm going to just keep it white. I want this layout to be light and bright. I thought about doing a color, but I think on top of these trees it's going to look best in just white. So I'm just going to lay this down, and I have it so that I have it sized so that it will just be in the top of the sun. It's not going to cover the tree. It's not going to cover the sun or my daughter. And those are the two things that I want to be sure to show. And so I'm going to lay that down. I have some light modeling paste from Liquitex. I also have regular modeling paste. They're very similar. Either one would work here. I'm just going to grab some, and I'm going to kind of hold this down. I haven't done modeling paste on a photo yet, so I'm not exactly sure how this will work out. It does have, this light modeling paste has a little bit of translucency to it, which might be super cool actually. I'm just doing a thin coat to start, but I'm going to go over it so that it has a little bit of a thicker, so it stands off the page a little bit more. Here we go for our second kind of coat. And you could smooth this out a lot, or you could leave a lot of texture in it. I'm gonna smooth mine out pretty well. I do like a little bit of texture, but I don't want it super texturized, but you definitely could do that. Okay, so that's gonna be good. Can lift off my stencil now. And that looks super, super cool. So now I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry, and I'm gonna start thinking about how much room I'll need for each one of these so that I can make my little arrows point to each one and maybe draw some lines as well. Okay, so after I put the modeling paste on, I changed my mind again because I think that the title that's huge and large over here needs to be balanced on this side by something, and so even though my daughter is pointing this way in the photo, I think it's fine, and I'm gonna put it on this side. So My plan is to put this little butterfly at the top of my journaling, and I pulled these two pieces that I have left over from the Tough Story Kit, and I'm going to place one of them underneath, just kind of anchoring this circle down. And I'm trying to decide if I want the gray stripe or if I want this aqua kind of dash line. And I'm leaning towards the aqua dash line because I want to use this this new Ali Edwards ink, and this is in the color Olympia. And this is what the color looks like when it's stamped. I did some testing, and so it matches this color really well. It would look fine with this color also, but I think that this color just helps to tie it together more. So I'm going to use this one. And these inks are on pre-order right now. As part of her digital creative team, we got them a little bit ahead of time, so I could show you how awesome they are. Okay, so now what I want to do is go ahead and stamp my little arrows, and I'm gonna try to do 9. We'll see how much there's space for, and then I'll just fit my words in. And so I'm not gonna worry about the spacing for now. I'm just gonna space them pretty equally apart. But I'm not a huge fan of measuring, and so I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so I got those all stamped. There are 9 with a little space at the bottom, and I decided it would be nice to stamp something there. So I'm just gonna stamp this that says Wild and Free, and it's from the Wild Story stamp set. And I'm not going to stamp it yet because I want to see how much space that I have at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling now. And I'm going to use my favorite black Muji pen to fill that in. And then I may underline it after I write it in. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and write those now. Okay, so I filled in my journaling. I'm not going to underline things, I don't think. But I am going to stamp Wild and Free at the bottom using the Black Butte ink pad. And just tap it in lightly. So if you haven't used a pigment ink pad before, it's kind of got like a spongy surface, so you don't need to push into it hard. You just kind of tap it on, and you can see when you have good ink coverage. You just tap it on and then stamp it down. And I'm just kind of rocking my stamp just slightly to make sure that I get it to get the ink going everywhere, and that looks just perfect. And I think that I'll also use the ink to stamp the date up at the top, or I could write it around that. I think I will stamp the date. So I'm going to look up the date for this photo real quick. I decided I'm going to stamp the date down here where the descender of the F comes out. So I'm just going to lightly tap my stamp into the ink pad and then kind of line it up and stamp it down. I think I'll stamp it again just so I can make sure. And it has a nice second generation stamp, this kind of ink does. And then to clean it off, I just use a baby wipe. I know some people don't clean their stamps, but I'm in the habit of doing it, so I just use a baby wipe, and it works great. And that way I don't get any of the previous ink color transferred to one of the other colors. Okay, so now I'm going to keep this really, really simple, but I do want to add a few finishing touches. I might need to move this over a little bit. It seems like it's not quite centered. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and add some little orange enamel dots, enamel hearts from Amy Tangerine. I thought about adding the yellow, but this is a color in between yellow and the orange I thought matched better a little bit. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and add some gold staples here to the side. And you can get gold staples from American Crafts. And then I'll add 2 down here as well. As a finishing touch, after I added my staples, I'm just going to add some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine. I've been shaking this for a bit. You really need to shake it. And I'm just going to put a little bit up here. Oh, there's a bigger dot than I thought I would have. And then I'm going to put a little bit over here on top of the photo. I really like the way the Color Shine looks on top of a photo. And I'm going to put it down towards the bottom here as well. Just for a little extra sunshine on my layout. So that is going to finish this off. I hope that you'll consider giving a technique like this a try, and I will link to all available products in the description below the video. Head to aliedwards.com for more info on her products. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.